Every morning, before your feet even touch the floor, you repeat the same lie. A quiet, comfortable sentence that sounds harmless, but steals your potential before the day even begins. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You tell yourself you're not ready yet. You tell yourself life will magically change when the right time finally appears. But let me ask you something. Has that moment ever actually arrived? Because deep down, you already know the truth. Tomorrow is just a softer name for never. And the version of you that could change everything is still trapped behind the lie you've convinced yourself is protection. But what if this lie is actually the cage? I once met a guy who lived inside this lie for years. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't weak, and he definitely wasn't stupid. He just believed the quiet voice that whispered, "Later, you'll fix it later." He waited for motivation to land in his lap. He waited for clarity. He waited for courage. And while he waited, life moved on without him. Friends built careers. Others started families. Opportunities passed like trains he never boarded. One day he looked in the mirror and said, "How did I end up here?" But the answer was simple. He kept choosing comfort over growth. Not because he wanted to, but because the lie made it feel safe. And that's the trap. Comfort disguises itself as logic, and fear dresses up as a responsibility. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The lie you tell yourself every morning isn't random. It's strategic. It's your mind choosing the familiar over the unknown, even when the familiar is ruining your life. You wake up with dreams, but by the time you brush your teeth, your brain has already talked you out of them. It tells you you're too tired, too busy, not prepared, as if greatness waits for permission. But look around. No one who changed their life did it because they felt ready. They acted anyway. They moved scared. They moved confused. They moved imperfect. And that's the difference. Successful people don't have more confidence. They have less tolerance for their own excuses. They refuse to negotiate with their limitations. Meanwhile, you've been negotiating with yours every single morning and losing. But here's the turning point. The moment everything changes. Imagine waking up tomorrow and refusing to let that lie speak first. Imagine breaking the cycle before it even starts. Picture yourself standing in front of the mirror, staring at the same face that's been waiting for years, and finally saying, "No more." Because the truth is, you're not lacking time, motivation, discipline, intelligence, or opportunity. You're lacking honesty. Brutal honesty. The kind that forces you to admit that your life isn't stuck. You've just been protecting your fears more than your future. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Suddenly, every excuse feels cheap. Every delay feels dangerous. Every morning becomes a test. Will you keep choosing the lie, or will you finally choose yourself? So let me ask you one last question. What would happen if, just for once, you refused to hide behind that morning lie? What would your life look like if you replaced "I'll start tomorrow" with "I start now"? Most people won't. Most people will hear this, nod their heads, feel the spark, and then slip right back into the habits that are slowly suffocating their potential. Don't be most people. You already know what staying the same costs you. You've felt it in the pit of your stomach every time you avoided the life you know you could be living. This is your moment to interrupt the pattern, to break the loop, to choose the version of you that's been waiting behind fear, comfort, and hesitation. If this hit you, don't just think, act, because the lie only wins if you stay silent. There is a moment in every person's life when the mirror stops reflecting a face and starts reflecting a truth. A truth you've been avoiding, postponing, negotiating with. You look at yourself and suddenly realized the biggest enemy wasn't time, circumstances, or lack of opportunities. It was a story you kept repeating inside your head. That soft, subtle narrative that told you you weren't ready, that you needed just one more day, that your breakthrough would magically appear without you ever having to move. But here's the real twist. Deep down, you never believed that story. You simply accepted it because it was easier than confronting your own potential. Potential demands responsibility. It demands discomfort. It demands becoming someone your old self would never dare to be. And that is why so many people stay stuck. They run from the version of themselves they were born to become. Every cycle has a breaking point, and yours isn't some dramatic event or life-altering crisis. It is this exact moment right now, where you finally realize the loop doesn't end by accident. It ends by confrontation. You've spent years repeating the same emotional sequence. Hope at night, hesitation in the morning, and guilt by afternoon. A loop so familiar it feels natural, almost comforting. But comfort isn't your friend here. It's the drug that's keeping you numb. And the withdrawal starts the day you tell yourself the truth. You don't need more time. You need a decision. Real one. The kind that doesn't negotiate with excuses or wait for motivation to knock on your door. When you choose decisively, everything shifts. Your posture changes. Your energy changes. Your identity changes. And for the first time, the loop breaks, not because the world changed, but because you finally did. There's a price you pay every time you postpone your own life. And the cruel part is this. The cost doesn't show up immediately. It accumulates quietly, like interest on a debt you never meant to create. Every day you wait, you lose a piece of your fire. Every week, you lose a piece of your identity. Every year, you lose a version of yourself that will never return. And the world won't warn you. Life won't tap you on the shoulder and say, "Careful, you're drifting." Drifting is silent. It feels harmless. It feels soft. But it destroys more dreams than failure ever did. Because failure teaches. Waiting erases. And one day, you will look back and realize the opportunities you thought you'd get another shot at were actually one-time invitations. Invitations you've never opened because you trusted the lie that told you there was still time. The real enemy isn't fear, failure, or even insecurity. Those are symptoms. The true enemy is the quiet version of you that learned to settle. The version that wakes up every morning trying to negotiate with your potential, trying to convince you that staying small is safer than taking a risk. That voice isn't trying to destroy you, it's trying to protect you. But it's protecting the wrong thing. It's protecting your comfort instead of your future. And the more you listen to it, the more your life shrinks. You start avoiding challenges. You avoid responsibility. You avoid your own greatness because it asks too much of you. But here's the twist. Every person you admire, every life you wish you had, every achievement you dream about, all of it lives on the other side of that voice. And until you confront it, you'll keep living a life that doesn't match your potential. Change doesn't happen when life finally becomes easy. It happens in a single, invisible instant when you finally get tired of your own excuses. There's a split second where something inside you snaps, not in anger, but in clarity. You suddenly see that no one is coming to save you. No perfect moment is coming. And the version of you you've been postponing is waiting on one thing, your decision. Not a plan, not motivation. Decision. The moment you say, "I'm done living like this," your brain rewires. Your energy sharpens. Your standards rise so fast it feels like meeting a new person. And in a way, you are. Because the real transformation isn't when your life changes, it's when your identity changes. When you stop being the person who waits and become the person who acts. At the end of the day, everything comes down to one simple truth. You are the only person who decides how your story ends, not your past, not your mistakes, not the lie you've been repeating every morning. You. And maybe that's the part you've been avoiding, because responsibility is heavy, but freedom is even heavier. Freedom to change. Freedom to evolve. Freedom to become someone your old self would never recognize. So here's your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week now. Take the smallest step you can, even if it feels insignificant. Because momentum doesn't start with a leap, it starts with honesty. And if you can be honest today, truly honest, the lie loses its power. Your future expands, and the life you've been dreaming about stops feeling distant and starts feeling possible. This is where everything shifts. This is where you become who you were meant to be.